Good morning, dear children. We can start new lesson, light. Okay, there are different forms of energy. What are the different forms of energy? You know, okay, sound energy, then heat energy, then mechanical energy, then chemical energy, solar energy, then light energy. There are different forms of energy. Isn't it? From this, we can say actually light is a form of energy. Okay, light is a form of energy and which makes the sensation of sight. Okay, light is a form of energy and which makes us the sensation of sight. Listen to it. What is light actually? It is a form of energy and which makes the sensation of sight. Okay, then what is the importance of light? What is the importance of light? Actually, it enables us to see the world around us. Okay, it enables us to see the world around us. That is actually the importance of light. Light enables us to see the world around us. Can you imagine if there is no light? Can you imagine that situation? In the absence of light, we would not be able to see anything. Okay, if there is no light, we cannot see anything. Suppose if you are in a dark room, if you are sitting in a dark room, can you see anything? I cannot see anything. Isn't it? For example, if you also we can say if you switch on a torch in a dark room, you can see the beam of light will be absolutely straight. You can see. Okay, absolutely actually it is straight. Suppose if you are switch on a torch in a dark room, you can see the beam of light. It will be a straight line. It will be a straight line. And this shows that light travels in a straight line. This shows that what? This is the very, very important property of light. Light travels in a straight line. Suppose if you switch on a torch in a dark room, you can see the beam of light will be absolutely straight. Listen to it. And this shows that light travels in a straight line. Listen to it. This is the very important property of light. Light travels in a straight line. And the propagation of light in a straight line is known as rectilinear propagation of light. What is mean by rectilinear propagation of light actually? Rectilinear propagation of light. Okay. What is mean by rectilinear propagation of light? The propagation of light in a straight line. The propagation of light in a straight line is called rectilinear propagation of light. Listen to it. The propagation of light in a straight line is called rectilinear propagation of light. Listen to it. We can consider another example. Suppose if you light a candle and observe the flame through a drinking straw. Okay, if you light a candle and we can observe the flame through a drinking straw. The next what we are going to do is actually bend the straw and observe. Okay, bend the straw and then observe the flame. Then what do you observe that time actually? You cannot see the flame through the bent straw. You cannot see the flame through the bent straw because light travels in a straight line. Listen to it, because light travels in a straight line. Okay, if you light a candle and observe the flame through a drinking straw, then you can see the flame. Listen to it. Then bend the straw and then observe. That time you cannot see the flame through the bent straw because light travels in a straight line. Isn't it? Normally the light does not bend. Okay, therefore it cannot reach our eyes through the bent tube. Listen to it. Normal case actually light does not bend. So therefore it cannot reach our eyes through the bent tube. Reach our eyes through the bent tube. Okay. How we are able to see the objects actually when light from the object enters our eyes, then only we can see see the object. Okay, suppose if the flame is observed through the bent tube, what will happen actually here? That light cannot reach our eyes. Normally, the light cannot bend. Suppose if it is observed through a bended straw, that light from the flame cannot reach our eyes. That is why we cannot see the flame through a bended straw. Listen it. Have you got it? Okay, next we can see luminous objects. Luminous objects and illuminated object. Okay, we can see what luminous objects and illuminated objects. You know, the sun, the lighted candle, electric bulb, then burning wood are actually the examples of luminous objects. Okay, the sun, the lighted candle, then electric bulb, then burning wood are examples for what? Luminous objects. That means an object that generates light are actually called luminous object. Okay, or it's emit their own light. They are known as luminous object. An object that generate light. Objects that generate light are called actually luminous objects. Okay, the object that generate light are called actually luminous objects. Okay. Actually, you know, most of the objects around us are actually illuminated. Most of the objects around us are actually illuminated. They appear bright because the light falls on them. Okay, they appear because they appear bright because what? The light falls on them. When light falls on them, they get illuminated. Listen, it such objects are called illuminated objects. Okay, that is the difference between actually luminous objects and illuminated objects. Okay, then how we can see this board? Actually, it gets illuminated. That is why you can see this board. Listen to it. Okay, here the luminous objects are actually the objects that generate light are called luminous objects. For example, sun, the lighted candle, electric bulb, then burning wood are examples for what? Luminous objects. And you know, the most of the objects around us are actually illuminated. They appear bright because light falls on them. They appear bright due to light falls on them. Okay, that is about luminous and illuminated objects. Okay. The next is what is white light is made of. Okay, what is white light is made of. Suppose if you have a glass prism. Okay, you have a glass prism. Then actually project a sharp beam of white light on it. Okay, project a sharp beam of white light on it. Then you can see that the light passes through the prism, comes out and a color band. Okay, the light passes through the prism, come out as a color band. Listen to it. When you pass white light through or when you project a beam of white light into a prism, the light passes through the prism, comes out as a color band. Okay, actually the band of colors that obtained is called spectrum. Okay, the band of 7 colors obtained is called actually spectrum. Then what is meant by a spectrum? When white light passes through a prism, the light comes out as a colored band, and this band of 7 colors, the band of 7 colors or band of colors that obtained is called spectrum. Okay, that is, we can say when white light passes through a prism, it splits into 7 colors. Okay, when white light passes through a prism, it splits into 7 colors. Listen, this band of colors is actually called the spectrum. The band of colors is actually called what? Spectrum. Listen to it. Actually, the white light is actually made up of 7 colors. I think you know, white light is actually made up of 7 colors. The different colors in the spectrum of white light are arranged in a definite manner. Okay, actually the white light is made up of 7 colors and the different colors in the spectrum of white light that is arranged in a definite manner. Actually the order of colors is actually violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Listen to it, and which is read as Vibgyor. Okay, this is the arrangement of 7 colors. Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Okay, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Listen to it. Then you know what is meant by spectrum. When white light passes through a prism, it gets split into different colors. The band of different colors is actually called spectrum. Actually, the white light that consists of 7 colors. and these colors are arranged in a definite manner. Actually, the order of colors is actually violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Okay, this is named as Vibgyor. The next, when do you see objects or things? Okay, when do you see things or objects? Okay, all of you know, to see objects or things, we need light. Okay, to see things or objects, we need what? Light. Okay, suppose when you see an object, when light falls on it, bounces back and reaches our eyes. Okay, that is then only we can see the objects. That is the light from the light that falls on the object, and that light bounces back to our eyes. Then only we can see the objects. Actually, this is called reflection of light. This is called what? Reflection of light. Okay, then what? So we can say the bouncing back of light when it falls on a surface, that is actually called the reflection of light. What is mean by reflection of light actually? The bouncing back of light when it falls on a surface, that is called the reflection of light. And how we can see objects? When light falls on the objects, and that light what bounces to our eyes, then only we can see the objects. That is, the light from the objects enters our eyes. Then only we can see the objects. Listen to it. Then what is mean by reflection of light? The bouncing back of light when it falls on a surface, that is actually called the reflection of light. Listen to it. And actually, when light bounces back after striking a surface, we say that light has reflected. Listen to it. When light bounces back after striking a surface, when light bounces back after striking a surface, we say that light has reflected. We can say the light has reflected. Suppose you look into a plain mirror, you see the reflection of yourself. Suppose when you look into a plain mirror, you can see the reflection of yourselves. Actually, here, what actually happening here is, and how this happens is what actually, because of light from us. Okay, also the light from you to the mirror and reflects back to our eyes. That is why we can see yourselves. Listen to it. This happens because light passes from you to the mirror, and after reflects back to your eyes. Listen to it. That is why we can see ourselves, or we can see yourself. Listen to it. Does all the objects that see around us reflect light? We can say most of the objects that reflect light. Okay, most of the objects that reflects light. Even the surface of your palm reflects light that falls on it. Listen to it. A black surface that does not reflect light. A black surface that does not reflect light. And the object appears black because it absorbs all the light. Okay, the object appears black because that absorb all the light that falls on it. Isn't it? And also, the letters on this on the pages of book, you can see your textbook. The letters on your textbook that appear black because they absorb all the light. Because they absorb all the light. Okay, a black surface does not reflect light. A black surface does not reflect light. The object appears black because it absorbs all the light. Listen to it. Also, the letters of your textbook that appears black because they absorb all the light. Listen to it. That is about reflection of light. Let's see the the reflection of light in detail. Okay. Do objects reflect light in a similar manner? All the objects that reflect light in a similar manner. What do you think actually? The light that is reflected actually depends on the nature of surface. Okay, actually the light that reflects actually depends upon the nature of the surface. Okay, so the reflection can be of two types, regular reflection and diffuse reflection. Listen to it. That is based on the nature of reflecting surface. We can classify the reflection as two: regular reflection and diffuse reflection. Okay, regular reflection and diffuse reflection. Suppose we have this common experience that actually you must have thrown a rubber ball on a wall actually and caught when it bounced back. Okay, you must have after thrown a rubber ball on the wall and caught it when it comes or bounce back. Listen to it. Most of the time actually you are able to judge accurately where the ball would return after striking the wall. That thing you can judge. Similarly, when light falls on strikes a smooth surface such as that of a steel plate or a plane mirror, they are reflected in a definite manner. Listen to it. When light that falls on or strikes on a smooth surface such as steel plate or plane mirror, they are reflected in a definite manner. Listen to it. Also, we can say when light that strikes a rough surface such as that of your palm, it behaves like the ball that is thrown on a rough wall. Okay, from a rough surface actually, a ball would we cannot we cannot predict how it bounces back when it falls, when it thrown in a rough surface. Listen to it. We cannot in any direction it bounces. Suppose it falls on a rough surface. Similarly, when light falls on an uneven surface or a rough surface, it gets reflected in any direction. It gets reflected in any direction. Listen to it. So we can classify the reflection as regular reflection and diffuse reflection. Actually, in the case of regular reflection, that is when light falls on a smooth surface like a plane mirror or a steel plate, it gets reflected in a definite manner. This is the way it gets reflected in a definite manner. This is called regular reflection. Listen it. What is mean by regular reflection? When light falls on a smooth surface such as plane mirror or a steel plate, it gets reflected in a definite manner. This type of reflection is called regular reflection. This type of reflection is called what? Regular reflection. And when light falls on a rough surface or an uneven surface, it gets scattered in different direction. This is called diffuse reflection. Actually, this is the diagram that represents what diffuse reflection. It gets scattered in different directions. Okay, when light falls on a uneven or a rough surface, it gets reflected in different direction. Actually, this is called diffuse reflection. Listen to it. That is the difference between regular and diffuse reflection. In the case of regular reflection, the light gets reflected in definite manner. But in the case of diffuse reflection, the light that's scattered in different directions. Listen to it. Actually, in the case of diffuse reflection, this diffuses the here actually diffuses the reflected light. That is why actually the light reflected from a cardboard does not form a bright spot on the wall. Okay, the light reflected from a cardboard that does not form a bright spot on the wall because it diffuses the reflected light. Okay, because it is the rough surface that diffuses the reflected light. Listen to it. That is about actually regular reflection and diffuse reflection. Okay, children, what are the things that we have learned today? Actually, we learned about light. Actually, light is a form of energy and which makes a sensation of sight. Listen to it. Actually, then one important property of light is actually it travels in a straight line. Light cannot bend. It travels in a straight line. Then what is mean by illuminated objects and luminous objects? Actually, the objects that generates light are called luminous objects. Okay, and the objects gets illuminated when light falls on them. And examples for luminous objects are actually sun, then lighted candle, electric bulb are examples of luminous objects. Listen to it. Then what is actually spectrum? The band of colors formed when white light passes through a prism, that is called the spectrum. Okay, the band of colors formed when white light passes through a prism, that is called the spectrum. As a result of actually the spectrum consists of 7 colors, or the white light that consists of 7 colors, starting from violet to red. Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Listen to it. Next we came in reflection. What is meant by reflection of light actually? The bouncing back of light when it falls on a surface, that is called the reflection. The bouncing back of light when it falls on a surface, that is called the reflection. And this reflection is of 2 types, regular reflection and diffuse reflection. The regular reflection actually that takes place in the case of smooth surfaces. Here the light reflected in a definite manner. The light reflected in a definite manner. And diffuse reflection takes place in the case of rough surface or an uneven surface. Here the light is scattered in different direction. In diffuse reflection, light is scattered in the different directions. Okay, that is the end of today's class. Thank you, children.